SpaceX founder and CEO Elon Musk explained why the Starship prototype SN11 went up in flames last week. The stainless steel vehicle, known as SN11, launched on a test flight on Tuesday, March 30, from SpaceX's South Texas facilities, near the Gulf Coast village of Boca Chica. SN11 soared to a maximum altitude of 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers as planned, and the 165-foot-tall, 50 meters, craft checked a number of boxes on the way down as well. But SN11 didn't stick its landing, instead exploding in a massive fireball, because of a plumbing problem, Elon Musk announced April 5. Ascent phase, transition to horizontal and control during freefall were good. A relatively small CH4 leak led to fire on engine 2 and fried part of avionics, causing hard start attempting landing burn in CH4 turbo pump. This is getting fixed 6 ways to Sunday, he said via Twitter. CH4 is methane, the propellant for SpaceX's powerful, next-generation Raptor engine. And a hard start refers to ignition when there's too much fuel in the combustion chamber and the pressure is therefore too high, not a good thing for any engine. SpaceX is developing Starship to take people and cargo to the Moon, Mars and other distant destinations. The transportation system consists of 2 elements, both of which will be fully reusable, the Starship spacecraft and a giant first-stage booster called Super Heavy. Both Starship and Super Heavy will be powered by Raptors, 6 for the final Starship and about 30 for the huge booster, Musk has said. SN11 sported 3 Raptors, as did each of its 3 predecessors, SN8, SN9 and SN10, which launched on 6-mile-high test flights in December, February and early March, respectively. All 4 flights were broadly similar, with the prototypes performing well until the very end. SN10 even landed in one piece, in fact, but exploded about 8 minutes later. SpaceX will keep trying to get the landing right. The company has already built the next Starship prototype, known as SN15, and it should take to the skies soon. Yes, SpaceX is going directly from SN11 to SN15. SpaceX has lost another Starship prototype at Boca Chica and the company is expected to soon roll out the Starship SN15 for its first test flight. But why is the SN15 the next iteration to launch after SN11 and not the SN12? The eagerly anticipated suborbital flight of the Starship Serial Number 11, SN11, took off on the afternoon of March 30 after multiple delays. SpaceX fans worldwide were hoping SN11 would be the first prototype to land in one piece, but the rocket crashed into the Boca Chica launch pad in South Texas, just minutes after taking off into the skies. The 164 feet tall rocket experienced a rapid unscheduled disassembly or RUD shortly after it engaged its Raptor engines for a soft landing attempt. SN11 joined the ranks of Starship SN8, SN9 and SN10, all of which were blown up at Boca Chica. And with the rocket now completely out of the picture, SpaceX fans are expecting its SN12 brother to be rolled out onto the launch pad. But this is not the case, as SpaceX will go straight to the Starship SN15 for its next launch. Shortly after the SN11 was crashed, Mr. Musk told his Twitter followers SN15 would make its launch pad debut in a matter of days. The SpaceX chief tweeted, SN15 rolls to launch pad in a few days. It has hundreds of design improvements across structures, avionics/software and engine. Hopefully, one of those improvements covers this problem. If not, then retrofit will add a few more days. The problem in this case is the significant something that caused the SN11 to fail its soft landing attempt. Since the crash, SpaceX crews have been busy clearing the launch area and nearby beaches from rocket parts and debris. Starship's development has been confusing even to the biggest of SpaceX's fans. Not only has the spacecraft gone through numerous design changes, but the 2-stage rocket also began life in 2012 as the Mars Colonial Transporter. The most recent Starship prototypes are all being assembled at the company's Boca Chica base. Test flights began with scaled-down models resembling water tanks that fans have affectionately dubbed the Starhopper. These prototypes flew no higher than 490 feet, 150 meters, and were built as a low-altitude test vehicle. The first full-size models of the Starship were the Mk1, Mk2, Mk3 and Mk4, which introduced some tweaks to the rocket's overall design. Starship Mk3 would later be renamed the Starship Serial Number 1 or SN1. Starship's testing continued with the SN3 and SN4 models, which resembled stainless steel silos. The rockets did not feature a nose cone or side fins, and both were destroyed during failed engine tests on the launch pad. Starship SN5 was up next, and the rocket launched on a 490 feet, 150 meters, test flight that was a success. SN5 was followed by another successful test flight of the Starship SN6, and both were scrapped in January and February this year, respectively. Starship SN7 was the next prototype that exploded during a pressurization test in June 2020. A scaled-down Starship SN7.2 tank, however, was used for pressure tests. A full-scale SN8 with nose cone and fins then launched in December of that year but failed to land. SN8 was followed by the SN9 in February, the SN10 in March, and then the SN11 on March 30, 2021. In January this year it was rumored SpaceX would skip over the SN12 model after eagle-eyed fans spotted the SN15 being assembled at Boca Chica. The jump meant SpaceX would be scrapping 3 iterations, SN12, SN13 and SN14, after launching the SN11. Mr. Musk confirmed this plan after SN11's crash landing, when he said SN15 would be the next rocket to launch. SN12 was never assembled, as SpaceX expects the SN15 to mark a significant technological leap on its predecessors. In essence, the missing 3 rockets were scrapped to make way for better and more robust designs. Individual segments of the Starship SN16, SN17 and SN18 are also in the works. However, Mr. Musk teased the Starship SN20 will mark the next big Starship upgrade. He tweeted, "Next major technology rev is at SN20. Those ships will be orbit-capable with heat shield and stage separation system. Ascent success probability is high. However, SN20 plus vehicles will probably need many flights attempts to survive Mach 25 entry heating and land intact.